Hey, fellow seekers. Tonight we plunge into the mists of the cultivation world, exploring a path walked by an ordinary soul who reached extraordinary heights. Imagine this. You stand on a dusty road, the sun setting on a simple village. You're just you. No fanfare, no inherent destiny whispered in the wind, just the quiet rhythm of a mundane life. You look around, perhaps feeling a stir of something more, a yearning for a different horizon. This is where many great journeys begin, not in palaces of power or ancient sects, but from humble roots. The path isn't easy, but every step is a victory for the persistent heart. Think of Han Li. He wasn't born with a legendary physique, a divine bloodline, or even a high-grade spiritual root. He started from less than zero, a peasant boy with a simple life and a family to support. His entry into the cultivation world was almost accidental, a twist of fate rather than a grand calling. This initial stage is crucial, acknowledging where you are right now, with whatever talents, resources, or limitations you possess. His spiritual root was incredibly poor, barely registering. In cultivation terms, this is like starting a marathon with heavy weights tied to your ankles. The core concept here is the foundation of the ordinary. Your starting point doesn't define your limit. It's the raw material you have to work with. The profound lesson? Your mortal roots, your background, your initial skill set, your current circumstances are not barriers, but simply the ground you stand on. Potential isn't a lightning bolt. It's often a slow burn, discovered through necessity and circumstance. Han Li's potential wasn't obvious. It was hidden, imperfect, and required external aid to even function properly. This mirrors our own lives. We might feel we lack natural talent or advantages, but what if your potential, like a hidden spiritual root, is just waiting to be found, nurtured, and amplified? Where are you starting your own journey? And what unexpected sparks of potential might be lying dormant within you, waiting for the right catalyst? Continuing from those humble beginnings, you soon realize that navigating this complex path isn't something you do entirely alone, at least not initially. For Han Li, this stage brought an encounter that was far from conventional. He met Dr. Mo, a seemingly benevolent elder who introduced him to the world of cultivation, albeit with his own hidden agenda. More significantly, he stumbled upon a small, seemingly insignificant green vial. This wasn't a legendary weapon or a trove of ancient scriptures. It was a peculiar tool capable of accelerating the growth of plants under specific conditions. This stage introduces the core concept of external catalysts. Sometimes, the crucial push or the unique advantage doesn't come in the form of a wise old master imparting ancient secrets, but in unexpected guises. A mentor might appear, not as the perfect guide, but as a complex figure with flaws and motivations. A powerful tool might not be a flashy artifact, but something subtle, whose true power you only unlock through experimentation and careful application. The green vial for Han Li was the key that circumvented his poor spiritual root, allowing him to cultivate far faster than anyone with his natural aptitude should have been able to. The real-life connection here is profound. Look around you. Who are the people who have influenced your path, for better or worse? What resources, perhaps unconventional or overlooked, have you discovered that give you a unique edge or help you overcome limitations? Maybe it's a specific skill you learned, a piece of technology, a supportive friend, or even a challenging boss who pushed you in unexpected ways. Just as Han Li had to carefully study and utilize his unique vial, you must identify and understand the power of your own catalysts. What unlikely mentors or unusual tools have entered your life, and how are you learning to leverage them to accelerate your own growth journey? With that unique tool in hand, you might think the path becomes instantly easy. Far from it. Remember that hidden spiritual root? It's still incredibly poor. The green vial accelerates growth, but it doesn't magically impart skill or knowledge. This is where the grind begins. You spend countless hours in meditation, painstakingly absorbing the meager spiritual energy available. You practice the foundational techniques over and over, feeling the subtle shifts within your body. It's repetitive, it's slow, it's often frustrating. This stage is about laying the foundation. The core concept here is the absolute necessity of mastering the basics through relentless, often invisible effort. Han Li didn't skip steps. Despite having the vial, he still dedicated himself to the fundamental cultivation cycles, strengthening his nascent spiritual energy, learning basic spells, and solidifying his physical form. This painstaking work is the bedrock upon which all future power and technique are built. Without a solid foundation, any advanced cultivation would be unstable, like building a skyscraper on sand. His discipline in this mundane phase, even when results felt incremental, was his silent strength. Think about this in your own life. What is the fundamental work required in your chosen field, skill, or goal? Is it practicing scales on an instrument, drilling basic coding syntax, perfecting your sales pitch, or simply showing up consistently and doing the necessary, unglamorous tasks? This isn't the exciting part, the flash and flare, but it is arguably the most important. Han Li's unwavering dedication to this fundamental, day-in, day-out process, amplified by his unique resource, is what allowed him to surpass those with far greater natural talent. How dedicated are you to mastering the essential, often tedious basics in your own pursuits, knowing they are the true source of future strength and capability? Building upon that solid foundation, your journey inevitably leads you beyond the safety of your initial training ground. The world of cultivation is vast and dangerous. You encounter rivals, beasts, treacherous landscapes, and unforeseen conflicts. This stage is defined by navigating trials. You're no longer just cultivating in quiet seclusion. You're actively participating in a perilous environment where mistakes can have fatal consequences. Han Li faces life-or-death situations constantly, forcing him to rely on his wits, his growing power, and the lessons learned during his foundational period. The core concept here is that growth is often forged in the crucible of adversity. These trials aren't just obstacles, they are necessary tests that reveal your weaknesses, hone your strengths, and force adaptation. Han Li's encounters with danger push him to learn new techniques rapidly, to think strategically, and to make difficult, sometimes morally ambiguous choices to survive. He doesn't always win gracefully, and he certainly doesn't avoid getting hurt. These experiences etch themselves onto his being, refining his character and hardening his resolve. Remember how he started with a weak spiritual root? These trials are where that initial weakness is transcended, not by magic, but by sheer necessity and application of his skills. Connect this to your own challenges. When have you faced a situation that pushed you to your limit? A difficult project at work, a personal crisis, a major setback in your goals? These moments, though painful, are often the most potent catalysts for learning and growth. They strip away complacency and force you to innovate, adapt, and discover capabilities you didn't know you possessed. Just as Han Li had to confront his fears and limitations head-on, you must also face your trials. What difficult choices have your challenges forced you to make, and how have these experiences shaped your resilience and pushed you to evolve beyond your initial capabilities? Emerging from those trials, perhaps a little scarred, but significantly stronger, you find that while connections are valuable, ultimate reliance often falls back on yourself. Mentors might disappear, allies might become rivals, and the unique tools you possess require individual mastery. This stage highlights the solitary path. While collaboration exists in the cultivation world, significant breakthroughs and survival in the most dangerous scenarios often depend on your own resourcefulness, independent learning, and self-sufficiency. Han Li becomes known for his cautious nature, his meticulous planning, and his ability to rely on his own skills and accumulated knowledge. The core concept is the critical importance of independent learning and self-reliance as you advance. You can't always have someone guiding your hand or providing the perfect solution. You must develop the ability to analyze situations, acquire new knowledge independently through studying scriptures, experimenting with pills, or researching techniques, and make decisions based on your own judgment. Han Li spends vast amounts of time in solitary cultivation, researching ancient texts, refining his techniques, and mastering new skills in isolation. His ability to constantly learn and adapt on his own is a cornerstone of his continued survival and progression. Think about your own journey. While collaboration and mentorship are vital, are you also cultivating the ability to learn independently and rely on your own judgment when necessary? Can you research a new skill, solve a complex problem without constant supervision, or make difficult decisions based on your own understanding? In a world that constantly changes, the capacity for self-directed learning is an ultimate superpower. Just as Han Li became a master of self-improvement in his secluded caves, you must also embrace your own solitary path of learning. How are you actively seeking knowledge and developing your capacity for self-reliance to navigate the ever-evolving landscape of your own goals? Having mastered basics, navigated trials, and embraced self-reliance, you eventually reach peaks you once thought impossible. You break through bottlenecks, ascend to higher realms, and gain power you could only dream of back on that dusty village road. This stage is about moving beyond the peak. But here's the twist. Reaching a peak in cultivation doesn't signify an end. It simply reveals a higher mountain range stretching into the horizon. The journey is infinite, and every achievement is just a stepping stone to the next, even greater challenge. The core concept here is that growth is a continuous, never-ending process. Han Li, even after achieving levels of power that make him a legend, doesn't stop cultivating. He faces new enemies, explores new worlds, and seeks even deeper understanding of the great Tao. The goal shifts from mere survival and initial power gain to seeking higher truths, exploring the limits of existence, and refining his understanding of the universe. This isn't about achieving a final state of perfection, but about embracing the perpetual process of becoming. His journey demonstrates that true mastery isn't the destination, but an ongoing exploration. Consider this in your own life. Have you reached a significant milestone, achieved a major goal, or mastered a particular skill? What's next? The danger after reaching a peak is complacency. True growth lies in recognizing that there's always more to learn, higher levels to reach, and new challenges to undertake. Just as Han Li kept pushing his boundaries beyond conventional limits, you must also look beyond your current achievements. What new horizons are calling to you after reaching your current peak? And how are you preparing yourself for the next, even more expansive phase of your own limitless cultivation journey? So, fellow cultivators, as we step back from Han Li's incredible path, remember this. He started with virtually nothing, facing disadvantages that would make most people give up. Yet, through an unexpected resources, relentless dedication to fundamentals, resilience in the face of trials, strategic self-reliance, and an unwavering commitment to continuous learning, he transcended his humble origins to reach truly divine heights. Your own journey might look different, your spiritual roots and green vials unique to you, but the principles are universal. Ordinary people, armed with perseverance, a willingness to learn from every experience, and the courage to face their challenges head-on, possess an extraordinary, limitless potential. Don't let your starting point define your destiny. Keep cultivating your spirit, learning from the journey, and pushing beyond what you thought was possible. The path is long, but every step forward is a testament to the power within you.